On July 25, 2017, police in the port city of Aden made a shocking arrest that quickly spread across international headlines. A young nurse and her close friend were taken into custody for a crime so disturbing that it left even seasoned investigators shaken. According to reports, the victim had been murdered, dismembered, and hidden inside a water tank. But thousands of miles away, in a quiet American town, a man sat frozen in disbelief as he watched the news. Because the woman being accused was his wife. He couldn't understand it. His wife was alive, safe, living abroad for work. So who was this woman the media was talking about? And how did her life spiral into something this horrifying? This is the story of Emily Carter, a hardworking nurse whose dream of building a better life turned into a nightmare that would push her to the edge of survival and beyond. Emily Carter grew up in a small, struggling town in Ohio. Her parents worked minimum wage jobs, barely making ends meet. But Emily was different. From a young age, she was determined to escape poverty. She studied hard, earned scholarships, and eventually completed her nursing diploma with help from a local church program. But even after graduating, finding a stable job in the US wasn't easy for her. So at just 19 years old, she made a bold decision. She accepted a contract to work overseas in the Middle East. Before leaving, she told her mother something she truly believed. Everything is going to change for us. And for a while, it did. Emily started working at a government hospital in a foreign capital city. The job paid well compared to what she could earn back home, and within a few years, she was able to send money back to her family. Life seemed to be improving. In 2011, she returned briefly to the US after her family arranged her marriage to a man named Daniel Carter, a simple, hard-working auto mechanic from Michigan. After the wedding, Emily returned overseas, and a year later, Daniel joined her. They started a new life together. Soon after, they had a daughter, but reality hit hard. The cost of living was high. Daniel struggled to find stable work, and raising a child in a foreign country became overwhelming. Eventually, Daniel made the difficult decision to return to the US with their baby daughter, hoping to build something stable back home while Emily stayed behind to keep earning. That decision changed everything. Now alone in a foreign country, Emily focused entirely on her work. She was known for her kindness, her dedication, and the way she treated patients. Over time, she began dreaming bigger. She didn't just want to work in a hospital anymore. She wanted to open her own clinic, a place where she could earn more, build something of her own, and finally secure her family's future. But there was one problem. According to local law, she needed a local business partner. And that's when Victor Hale entered her life. Victor was a local businessman who owned a small shop near the hospital. Emily had met him casually before, and he seemed helpful, friendly, trustworthy. At first, everything seemed perfect. Victor helped her navigate paperwork, licensing, and setting up the clinic. Within months, her dream became reality. The clinic opened. Money started coming in for the first time in her life. Emily felt like she had made it, but she had no idea that the man she trusted the most was quietly taking control of everything. Victor's behavior slowly began to change. He inserted himself into every decision. He started handling finances. He told staff that he was the real owner. Then one day Emily discovered something horrifying. Victor had manipulated legal documents and added himself as a co-owner of the clinic, without her consent, without her knowledge, and worse, he began telling people that Emily was his wife. At first, Emily thought it was just a misunderstanding, but it wasn't. Victor had created fake documents, including a forged marriage certificate. In the eyes of local authorities, he was legally connected to her, and that gave him power. A lot of power. Things quickly turned dark. Victor became controlling, aggressive, violent. He would show up drunk, threaten her, beat her, and force himself into her life in ways she never imagined. Emily tried to fight back. She went to the police, but instead of helping her, they detained both of them for disturbing the peace. Victor used his fake documents in court, and just like that, the system sided with him. From that moment on, Emily was trapped. Her passport was taken, her money was controlled, she was isolated from her family. Even calling her husband became dangerous. She had to use different SIM cards just to avoid being tracked. She lived in constant fear. The abuse escalated. Victor would bring people to her house. He would threaten her, force her into situations she couldn't escape. She had no way out, no protection, no support. At some point, something inside Emily broke. She realized one thing: the only way to escape was to get her passport back, and Victor would never give it willingly. A prison warden who occasionally visited her clinic gave her an idea. "Knock him unconscious," he said. "We'll handle the rest." Emily didn't plan to kill him. She just wanted a chance to escape. One night, Victor arrived at her house drunk, as usual. Emily injected him with a sedative. Nothing happened. The next day she tried again. This time, it worked. Victor collapsed, but something was wrong. His body stopped moving, his breathing stopped, his pulse was gone, he was dead. Emily panicked. She never intended this. She just wanted her life back. Her friend, a fellow nurse named Sarah Malik, rushed to help her. Together, in fear and desperation, they made a decision that would seal Emily's fate forever. They disposed of the body, hid it, and fled the city. Days later, the smell gave it away. Police discovered the remains, and the hunt began. Emily and Sarah were arrested within days. The case exploded across global media. Headlines painted her as a cold-blooded killer, a woman who murdered her husband, a monster, but the truth was far more complicated. In court, Emily tried to explain everything: the abuse, the fake marriage, the control, the fear, but she had no proper legal support. The language barrier worked against her. Documents were signed that she couldn't even understand, and the system failed her again. In 2018, she was convicted. In 2020, she was sentenced to death. Back in the US, Daniel was left raising their daughter alone. For years, he fought to prove her story, to save her, to bring her home. But time kept running out. Appeals were rejected, hope faded, and then came the final blow. Her last plea for mercy was denied. Now, Emily Carter sits in a prison cell, waiting, her fate no longer in her hands, her life depending on decisions made far beyond her reach. Was she a victim, or a criminal? That's the question that still divides everyone who hears her story, because sometimes, the line between survival and crime is thinner than we think.